Hello, everybody, and welcome to Awaken to Brilliance. I'm your host, Isabella, and today I'm super excited because we have an awesome guest for you. His name is Aaron Apke, and he's just so cool. I found him on the YouTube. He has amazing videos that he has online, and they're really in alignment with what we share on this show. And I think I've watched all his shows because he's all about law of attraction, enlightenment, self-empowerment, and he's just really, really cool. And I'm so happy and honored that he decided to join our show today after a long time of not having interview shows. So I really want to send a really warm welcome to Aaron. Thank you so much, Aaron, for being on Awaken to Brilliance today. Welcome.
Thank you, Isabella. It's my pleasure to be here.
Awesome. So I just love how you share your message. You bring all your background as a pastor and somebody who's bridged spirituality and science and religion, and then just brought out something really enlightening to share with the audience today. So what is it that you are super passionate about sharing?
Well, my channel has a ton of different topics on it, as I'm sure you know. I do mostly law of attraction, enlightenment. I have a bunch of different series that I run on my channel. One of them is called Moving Backwards, which is like a series for people who have come out of religion and are sort of looking to find a more holistic spiritual perspective, progressive perspective. Really passionate about that. I have a series on astral projection, which actually has the most views on my channel, ironically.
We have to get into that because I love that.
Do you?
Yes.
I do too.
Okay, really awesome. Yeah.
And I have a channel, a series called Mind Science, which is more about enlightenment and just like the science of the mind and things like that. So I'm into a lot of stuff.
Yes, I love that. So for those who don't know, what is astral projection?
So that's a good question. That's something that's a sort of a point of contention on my channel with a lot of people because I studied astral projection pretty deeply for 2 or 3 years, and I was involved in a forum board of people who were kind of like astral projection masters, you know, and they've been doing this for 10 years, and they can project like from their living room whenever they want. You know, they're super, super talented. And I read a lot of works like Robert Monroe's books, The Journeys Out of the Body, Robert Bruce, Frank Keppel, who's kind of a lesser known guy who really pioneered the science a lot. And so these guys all talk about, Thomas Campbell's another big one.
Yeah, okay, cool.
These guys all talk about astral projection in a very different way than the common person would think of it. So the common person thinks that astral projection is only having an out-of-body experience, like in your room, right? If you project out of your body, then you have an astral projection. But a lucid dream is not an astral projection. A regular dream is not an astral projection. These are all like different segmented things. And what experts or sort of masters of projection will tell you is that anytime you change, the way that they would phrase it would be like anytime that consciousness changes its phase relationship with its environment is an astral projection.
Yes.
So a dream at night is an astral projection. I like to say it in a little bit different way, which is like anytime that you project your awareness into another vibrational density level, that is an astral projection. So a lucid dream is an astral projection. It's all based on sort of a spectrum of lucidity, right? So a dream at night, you are astral projecting because, I mean, your dream doesn't happen in this dimension, right?
Exactly.
If somebody cuts your brain open, they're not going to see your dream, right, in your brain. So, but the thing is, you're on this end of the lucidity spectrum, so you're not aware that you're projecting, right? And so a lucid dream is when you move a little bit more this way and you become aware of, oh, I'm astral projecting or having a dream. So it just kind of goes from there, and you can have, you know, there's all kinds of different variations of it, such as astral travel, which is like kind of like a remote viewing in the astral. You don't have an energy body.
Yes.
You can have an out-of-body experience in your bedroom. So it's sort of like a good analogy for it would be that astral projection is like martial arts. And an OBE would be like jujitsu, a lucid dream is kickboxing, a regular dream is Muay Thai, right? They're all different forms of the same thing, of the umbrella term which is astral projection.
Exactly. So it's like merging with a different frequency.
Totally.
Actually embody something. Yeah, that's so awesome. It's like people used to think that you had to like transition to have that kind of experience where you merge into the everything.
Or
but
that
we
you
know
leave your
now
body.
exactly that we can literally experience that, and we do that way more than we're aware of.
Mhm.
Because it's natural for us to be emerging and like engaging with different frequencies, different dimensions at all the time.
Yeah.
So we're actually doing it, and when you become aware of it, you become more attuned to the experience, and it can be really enlightening.
Absolutely. And technically speaking, you are astral projecting right now into the physical 3D dimension.
Exactly.
Because consciousness is not located anywhere.
Exactly. So isn't that somehow related to then our past and our future? And we can actually change the variables in our past and future by astral projection. Is that something that you've looked into?
Well, I mean, I'm not sure in what terms you're speaking, but you can definitely change the variables. You're already changing the variables of your future every second,
Yeah,
opening different probability fields and things like that.
exactly. Has it not been your experience as well that you can change your past?
In the sense of like how you relate to it.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And by us relating to it differently, we can perceive it differently, and we can choose a different experience of our past.
100%.
Because there are past variables which we can then align to, which are creating our now moment. And the way we are experiencing our past is coming from our present state of consciousness.
Mm-hmm.
So this is so beautiful, because people often regret things in their life because they regret that they cannot change it. But everything in this life is always shifting and becoming something new. So you don't have to regret when you know that you are capable of shifting all frequencies and merging into different dimensions. So choosing a past and a future and a present moment that align to the best of you. And so it's really cool when you can do that and realize that we all have that ability just by our focus, because it's our focus which brings forth our reality.
100%. I couldn't agree more. I think that's a big part of getting over traumas, is to revisit them and sort of revisualize how you would have liked to have behaved in that situation.
Exactly. And isn't that cool, Aaron? Because you know what? Our imagination is just a different dimension of reality. So whatever we feel is real. So we can actually have that full embodied experience, completely new, shifting in the past. Mm-hmm. So you can shift the trauma and see it from another perspective, and then a perspective that empowers you.
Yeah. Where, time is really just a configuration of different timelines stacked together, right?
Yeah.
So you can literally go back to the past and visit a different parallel timeline and experience that one through your emotional body.
Exactly.
And your subconscious doesn't know the difference, right, between what you're experiencing or what you're imagining. So you experience it in your imagination and feel the feelings of it, and your body responds to it as if that's what actually happened.
Exactly. That is so cool. I just love that. And that really feels really enlightening. And, and that's how you can live in that state of what they call enlightenment, because you realize how malleable existence is, how you can just change and embody new things. And this is also to do with astral projection, of course, as we're coming to bring this together.
Yeah, it was actually astral projection that taught me about law of attraction.
Oh, cool.
That's how I got into it. I started astral projecting, and I started to think about things from a new perspective, right?
Yeah.
Why do things work the way in this reality differently than my regular reality? And
yes.
The more I investigated that idea, I started to realize they don't work any differently. It's just a much more dense vibrational reality. And so, like in the astral, I can build a house in my mind within 3 seconds if I really visualize it, bring it to life. But in regular life or 3D life, I can do the same thing. It just takes longer because it's a much more dense reality. but all the rules in the whole universe still apply. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Love that. So how do you define the law of attraction?
I define the law of attraction in a lot of different ways because it's good to give a lot of different perspectives on it,
Yeah.
Different ways of thinking about it. I like to say that, I like to call it the law of reflection, first of all.
Yes.
It's the universe reflecting you back to yourself. But the basic idea to me of law of attraction is that it's a law that was created by the source to help us continue evolving, to aid in the expansion of consciousness. So the idea would be that we would be able to see, because the universe reflects us, we'd be able to see the contents of our own consciousness projected out to the universe like a mirror, right? And then be able to see that reflection and make better decisions on what we really desire versus what we don't desire. And this is how evolution progresses.
Yes, exactly. That's the beauty of those reflections, is that they're actually reflecting to you your state of consciousness. Mm-hmm. And according to how you are feeling, it's going to show you through your emotions how much you are in alignment to that, that true powerful state. 100%. So when you don't, because your emotions are really how you think about what you're feeling. And when you can think about it differently, your emotions change. So much so that I love to say that you don't even need your emotions at one point for reference, because you will be so much in alignment. You'll just be living a sensational life where you just live the feelings of life, because you don't hold any judgment as to whether it's good or bad. You're literally just feeling life and just enjoying the variety and the spectrum of infinite frequencies in which you can choose upon any time at any moment.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think that the best thing that anyone can do for their spiritual journey is to start minding their feelings more.
Yes.
Think less, feel more.
Yes, this is what I love. Absolutely. I'm so passionate about that, because I just think if we feel, it's like going to the gym. Some people feel that when they put their muscles under tension that it feels horrible, and other people think it's like, wow, it's growth and expansion, but the sensation is the same. And if you could just have a different relationship with sensation and have it as that every sensation brings you to life, it's something to celebrate, then you really do have a glorifying life experience, because you're alive.
Yep. Yeah, it's kind of like your guidance system.
Yeah.
Your emotions are the way that your higher self is always communicating to you.
Exactly.
Thinking is correct or incorrect.
Exactly. Until I believe that we will not need the guidance. We will be the guide.
Yes, at some point in your evolution, you will be.
Yeah, you will embody your higher self. Mm-hmm. And I think that's what we're stepping into. That's why you're also seeing people that don't need to channel higher self, because they are expressing higher self. They're getting that download and then they're bringing it out to share with everyone, which I think you do. That's how I feel.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I think that your higher self is essentially you from the future.
Yes, exactly. Exactly.
It's kind of like you at your evolutionary journey where I don't know if you're familiar with the Law of One, the book.
Yes, I am. Mm-hmm.
Okay. So Ra talks about this in the Law of One, where at some point around the 6th density level, you become so evolved and so free of distortion that you kind of flip back, because you're completely outside of time and space at that point. You flip back and become a guide to yourself in all your previous incarnations.
Yeah.
So it literally is you. You could think of it in 10 billion years from now, if that helps. It is you.
Yeah. You, the all-knowing, because we always think our future is better off than we are right now.
Right.
But how about we think that the best is now?
The best is always now.
Yeah, the best is always now. So when you think like that, you feel liberated. Yeah. Because you're not like being impatient. You don't have to keep searching. You just express creation. Mm-hmm. I think that's how we create. It's like somebody who writes a piece of music. The music is already in existence. All they're doing is transcribing it into some frequency, like music.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
And so the way we are creating, we're just expressing creation. So we don't have to force and manipulate and really effort ourselves tirelessly into what already exists in our experience. Mm-hmm. And that's what you share. And also I think one of your interview shows that you had, which is really awesome. You were talking about the nature and how everything is natural and there's an effortless manifestation. Could you speak more on that?
Yeah, you kind of just touched on it, really. The idea is that nothing in the universe is like breaking a sweat to be what it is, you know? And
Yes.
that's where we get into the concept of authenticity.
Yes.
Why authenticity is so important. It is your power is your authenticity, which is your ability to be who you are. That's all it really is.
Yeah.
But a tree, you know, you look at a tree and you admire its beauty and everything about it so much, because it is being as authentic as possible. It is being itself. It doesn't have any, a tree doesn't have an ego where it's like looking for validation and stuff. Like, that's why it's so beautiful to us, because it's just shining, right? As that expression of creation. And you were made to shine in that same way as everything else in the universe does. And so you have to sort of get out of your own way in that sense to find how to be the most, it's almost like it takes effort to become effortless in a sense.
Yes, exactly.
Because the ego.
Yes. It's a bit like you have to work on it to get easy.
Yeah.
You have to work on your spirituality for it to be easy and natural for you.
But once you find it, that's the laughing aha moment of enlightenment.
Yes.
Is you realize that it was always the most natural thing, but you had overlooked it because it was so natural.
Exactly. It's like people who are wondering, what are my gifts and my talents? Well, usually it's so natural for you that you don't realize they are something that is who you are. You see, you're looking for your life purpose and you realize, oh, I am my life purpose. I am my purpose. I'm here,
Already it.
Yes, I'm already it.
Yeah.
And then when you live from that space, then you live really expansive.
That's when it gets real fun.
Yeah, because I think there comes a kind of fear that people are like, well, if I already am it, then there's nothing for me to do anymore. And that's not anymore for you. It's for you to express. So there's a lot of action in expression because we are living in an energetic physical reality. So there's a lot of movement happening. And so we want to engage in that too, because that's the fun of creation in this dimension, is that we get to see, all that we are into physical form.
Yep. That's why I just so enjoy the paradoxes of spirituality,
Yeah.
Because like you said, in enlightenment, different, spiritual masters will have different approaches towards teaching enlightenment.
Yes.
Some will say, if you don't desire freedom worse than your next breath of air, you will not attain it.
Yes.
And then others will say, Master, what can I do to attain enlightenment? And they'll say, you can do nothing at all. There's nothing you can do. Just sit around and wait.
Exactly.
And both are equally correct, because when you do, achieve that state of enlightenment, then you realize that on one hand, there's absolutely nothing whatsoever to do.
Yes.
On the other hand, you are evolving towards God itself.
Yes.
And so the mind gets super confused by that dichotomy and might ask questions like, well, I'm on a soul journey evolving towards the source. Like, that's crazy. It must be a really overwhelming task. Like, tell me what to do.
Yes.
And it's like, well, there's actually nothing to do because you're already doing it, right?
Exactly. And it's just for you to realize that.
Yeah.
And when you realize it, you can lighten up and have a whole lot of fun. And there you go. There's enlightenment for you. That's
the, like Jesus called it, the peace that passes understanding.
Yes. Yes.
Because the mind won't get it.
Love. It's like love. This is what love is, the essence to me. What I think is the basis of all of creation, and it need not be understood. It simply is.
It cannot be understood.
No, and it's like I got once a quote that says, "Brilliance is being without needing to be. When you don't need to be it, it's who you are."
Yep, that's authenticity.
Let it go. Yeah, authenticity, exactly. And authenticity is not your emotions. This is what many people, I'm angry, I'm going to be authentic that I'm angry. That's got nothing to do with it. Authenticity is what you were saying, which is?
To me, authenticity is to be completely free of inner resistance.
Oh, I love that. That's a beautiful way to put it.
Yep.
Absolutely. Yes.
Whenever
Yes.
there's resistance, like let's say there's an aspect of yourself. Actually, I'm posting a video on this maybe tomorrow or Wednesday.
Yep.
The title is God has no concept of forgiveness.
Yes.
And the idea is
Yes.
that it's only us that need to forgive, right?
Exactly.
Because
So
God
that
has
we can
never, yeah,
go
God has
ahead.
never held a grudge against us, right?
Yes.
We have these parts inside of us that are split or fragmented. And the example I give in the video is like I was super insecure in middle school, and I was like a loner all of 7th grade. I was really shy, and I hated that part of me so much. So as I got older, you know, life got a lot better and stuff, and I became more authentic and all that stuff. But there was still that fragment of me, that 7th grader that was buried inside, that started to come out more when I started to teach in public. I started to feel this need for validation so strong. And I'm like, what is going on here? And I could not feel authentic in front of people. I could not be myself in front of people. And I realized it was because I never healed that 7th grader who felt unworthy of acceptance, you know?
Yeah.
So I had been hating it and suppressing it and resisting it. And that resistance manifested as this nervous, inauthentic part of me, right? Because that part of me
Yes.
wants to be loved and accepted, and I'm hating it and resisting it.
Exactly. And that also makes you want to prove what you're saying. Like go out there and like, I need some validation for this. Like these, yeah, because that comes from insecurity. Whereas now it's like, I'm just sharing because
Yes.
it's what I'm passionate about.
We all know people like this where they're searching for something their whole entire life. And even though
Yes.
they seem to be getting it, it's never enough for them.
Yes.
Because in my example, let's say if I wasn't aware of that inner fragmentation in me and I didn't seek to heal it through love and acceptance, then I would be seeking that validation from people forever. And
exactly.
I could travel the world and be the next Abraham Hicks or whatever, and I could still never feel satisfied for that need for validation because only I can forgive myself. Only I can heal myself.
Exactly. Because there is no judgment from source. You know, and it's our forgiveness that will also open our hearts up energetically.
Yep.
You know, we just need to open up to that no resistance.
Yep.
That's beautiful. And that's also freedom and knowing that you have the power to be anything and explore yourself. And as the universe in creation.
Yep.
So
you're always exploring yourself and you can never stop doing it.
Exactly. I love that. So yes. Wow. Okay. And self-empowerment, how do you love to empower people with these insights? What is it that really you feel passionate about sharing now?
You know, definitely what we're just talking about is that concept of authenticity has really become the most like important thing for me personally. I think it's kind of funny in law of attraction that it seems like everyone wants to manifest a car, a house, a relationship, money, you know, and there's all these material things. And I'm at this place in my life where, and maybe this is just part of having gone through the enlightenment journey, but there's nothing in the external world that could even come close to touching the beauty and the desire I have for authenticity. Like that's all that really matters to me, is to be who I most authentically am and express this Aaron Abke creation the universe has made. Like that is so much more valuable than $5 billion to me. I agree.
Yeah, I feel that. Yeah. Yes, exactly. It's so satisfying.
Nothing feels as good as being yourself.
Sorry?
Nothing feels as good as being yourself.
Absolutely. And a lot of shopping or buying or wanting is because you're trying to overcompensate for something that you don't feel full with.
Yes.
You don't feel whole. And you know, so you're buying it.
I should say this. I don't mean to poo-poo on people who are trying to manifest an amazing job or relationship or house. What I believe is that we are all here in this specific level of incarnation for the sole purpose of experiencing all of our desires.
I agree.
That is the way we are evolving, you know?
Yes.
So there is nothing inherently more righteous or virtuous about wanting to manifest $1 billion than authenticity, right? Because for that person who wants to manifest $1 billion, that is their version of authenticity to them.
That's just what I was going to say. Like the creation of wealth is a way that you explore your self-empowerment in another dimension, in
Yes.
another frequency. And that is so awesome. You
Yeah.
see, and even the creation of wealth from this perspective is going to feel different than just the physical things, although they will be part of it. It will be coming from a different essence. And
Yes.
so it will create a different kind of experience.
Yes. If you can almost think of it like we're searching for a needle in a haystack, right?
Yeah.
And, Jesus told a really good parable about it called the pearl of great price. He
Yes.
said, the kingdom of heaven is like a man who goes into the market to buy and sell, and he finds a pearl of great price. And when he finds it, he sells everything he possesses in order to obtain it.
Yes.
And so our desires are sort of like the haystack we sift through. And, whether you want a relationship or a house, a job, a car, you need to go experience all those desires. If you can't inherently see through their unreality yet, then go and manifest them, because you will get that $1 billion and it will make you happy for a little while. And then you will eventually come to the realization that the happiness you were seeking was not infused in the $1 billion, right?
Yes.
And you keep doing this searching process, and you retract and retract and retract until you eventually come to your own self. And you find that thing that, like Jesus called it, the water that I give you, whoever drinks of the water that I give you will never thirst again, but out of their heart will pour rivers of living water. So like the external world is it's a bunch of symbols that represent to us what we actually are, right?
Yes, this is our desires. That's why we are our desires, because whatever we are desiring is a frequency that we want to express now. So even if we're talking about wealth and the creation of wealth, it's a certain frequency that we want to explore. And so it's a beautiful thing when you're like, the creation of wealth, I want to explore that in me and how I express that. And so every desire is a self-expression. And the beauty of your desires they make you come alive. You see, we all love to desire things because it brings us fulfillment and purpose and pursuit and enthusiasm and excitement and joy. Without our desires, we're flat. So this just awakens us and brings us generates inspiration. And
that right there is where the waters get a little bit muddy for people with enlightenment and law of attraction or empowerment. And so one of the things I'm also really passionate about, like you asked a minute ago, is this idea of, I call it enlightened empowerment, because in traditional enlightenment, like Buddhist enlightenment, the Buddha talked about, if you want to be enlightened, get rid of all your desires, right?
Yes.
And so in law of attraction circles, they look at that and go, doesn't compute, I don't understand. And the way that those two things marry each other is that what Buddha was really talking about was attachments, having that egoic identity attachment to something. But even from the standpoint of, there's actually a parable that Buddha tells where it says that his disciples came to him and said, Buddha, how do we attain enlightenment? He goes, just go out and get rid of all your desires, and then you'll be enlightened. And they're like, okay, we're on it. So they go out and they stomp on desire, they slit the throat of desire, they kick desire off of a cliff, everything they can do. They come back and they go, okay, master, we've done it. We've gotten rid of every desire. They're desireless, but we don't feel enlightened. And he goes, aha, but you're still desiring not to desire.
Exactly.
And then it says his disciples became enlightened.
Yeah.
And so the idea is that it's impossible to not desire.
Exactly.
Right? Desire is how the source manifests itself. So there's nothing inherently wrong with desiring, but understanding that you are the source of your own desire. Ultimately, you can only ever desire yourself.
Yes, exactly. So what you are desiring is to express yourself in that certain way.
Yes.
That's why every desire, whether it's desire, and even the desire of a house or a strong body or whatever, it's because you want to go through that self-expression. You want to express yourself in that dimension. And when you see it from that perspective, then you can enjoy the desire and you can enjoy the physical moments of it, and you put it all together and it's beautiful.
and you don't have attachment to it.
Exactly. So it's a really liberating form of desire.
Mm-hmm.
It's a really free desire.
Yep.
And then you also realize how you feel empowered, because you realize, if I'm that essence, and like Neville Goddard is always like, the feeling is
the secret.
The secret, exactly. So when you're feeling it already, you're activating that. This is why I always say, the minute you have a desire, you embody it. So it's already you.
Yes.
So it's already who you are.
You are what you desire.
You are what you desire. You are your dreams. You are everything. You are your manifestations. And when you see it through that way, how empowering, how enlightening, how wonderful. And then the law of attraction merges, and then you bring all of that together beautifully.
Yeah, that's really when law of attraction works for you rather than against you. When you release those attachments to the outcome of, I need to have this. Oh, what if I don't get it? Because the universe is always reflecting you perfectly, right? So if you have any fear of not getting the thing you want, the universe goes, oh, you're afraid? Okay, well, let's pull back a little bit. And it's always mirroring you, right? And
yes.
So know that I already am my own fulfillment. Like, there is no external reality that I can go out and get to attain fulfillment. It's all emanating from inside of me. And the thing that I want, the object I want, is just a symbol that represents the essence, that frequency, of what I desire.
Essence, yes.
And the essence is what the universe brings you, not the symbol.
Exactly. And so it could bring a symbol that was even more amazing than you could have ever forecasted in your imagination. So even the imagination, which is another dimension of reality, is just here to stimulate you. It's to activate the senses that you desire. And when you know that the moment you have a desire, it is present and embodied within you, you have already attained and embodied that frequency. And so you just infuse it in all that you do. So what I always say, instead of just doing it in something that you're passionate about or what you desire, how about you bring that essence in all that you do? So you're constantly expressing that. And the more consistent you are with that, the more you embody it, and the more it shows up as a physical manifestation, which will probably most likely be something more amazing than you could have ever imagined. And this is how it looks like to live a life of magic and miracles, which exist.
Yep. If you can become the embodiment of what you desire, then you don't have to, do all of the sticky notes and visualizations constantly.
Exactly.
Because everything is just everything is frequency being attracted to itself. So like, if you match the frequency you want just as your state of being,
yes,
the universe is just going to continue attracting things in your field that match your frequency.
Exactly. This is what I love to say. There's only presence. There's only presence. So even what you feel is absent in your life, like you have a desire, so you think it's not here, it's actually present, or you wouldn't have it. You have the desire, so it's showing you it's present in your reality. And that's a whole lot of fun, because then you are, like the law of attraction, you are feeling the presence of it instead of doing it because you don't have it yet. And so people who are doing law of attraction and going, this stuff doesn't work, is because they're saying, I want this, and they're feeling, I don't have it. So you need to be present with the feeling and know that your feeling is confirmation that you are it. And that is when the fun begins.
You're absolutely right. The game changer is to understand that the universe just wants to experience the emotion, the feeling, the sensation.
Exactly.
So the universe doesn't actually regard the symbol or the circumstance as meaningful. It only regards the experience as meaningful. The essence is meaningful. So like when you are in that chosen reality, experiencing it in your emotional body and visualizing it, that is what the universe wants inherently anyways. And so, like saying, sometimes you'll get let's say you want a really nice car, and you might have wanted a GT500, and then instead someone gives you a Ferrari, right? So you get a better car, and you're going to go, whoa, I didn't even think about a Ferrari, but I got it anyway. And that's because the universe actually brought you the essence of what you wanted, which was the excitement of driving a new car, right? And so if you had been hyperly focused on the GT500, you might have not gotten the Ferrari, because both are equally neutral, right? The Ferrari is not inherently any better than the GT500 to the universe, but the feeling it gives you is where the juice is. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. Your desires are your juice as well. So I love that. They bring the deliciousness into your life. And of course, we want to celebrate our desires. Of course, we want to empower people to know that their desires are who they are, and it is available, because how could it not be? It's actually really hard when you have this awareness to think, how can my desires not be who I am? So you become, when you turn around this perspective, you're like, wow, I could have never imagined how I could live another way. So what we were coming before, it's like your nature of all this brilliance starts to look really easy. You know, it starts to be easy for you. And that's really, really fun. And then you connect to people who are thinking and feeling the same way. And it's really, really, really fun. So,
it is.
Yes. So, oh my goodness. Oh, anything else you want to share, Aaron? I just love this conversation.
That was fun. That was a blast.
Oh, I have something. What do you think, especially because from your religious background and everything, what is your perception on the afterlife, or however you like to define that?
Yeah, I'm really interested in this topic as well. I'm actually going to be doing a series soon on the Law of One.
Okay, awesome.
And it's going to be breaking all this stuff down, but it's changed so much since my, religious days. But we are all souls, right? We are all individual focal points of the one source, the one consciousness. And so everything is about the creator knowing itself.
Yes.
And without manifestation, the creator literally would have no clue what it is. Because if left to itself, you could say it is pure perfection. It is just infinite love with no contrast. Yes. So it creates manifestation to give itself the contrast, right? Because that's the law of polarity, without contrast, nothing can be known.
Yes.
So we are all aiding in the creator to know itself. So you are one way that the source understands what it is like, if that makes sense.
Yes.
So because of that, it doesn't make sense that the source would just project one short little 80-year lifetime and then kaput, done. Like, it is infinite. And so nothing in the universe works that way, right? Everything is interconnected. Everything is infinite and eternal. The universe goes forever in all directions, right? So you are basically a unit of the source that is going through an evolutionary journey. And the Law of One, Ra talks about the 7 densities of consciousness, where the first density is like earth, water, fire, and air, the elements. And so that is a form of consciousness, the planet, right? And so that form of first density consciousness existed on this planet for, 3 billion years or something, 2 billion years. And the fire and the water and the earth and the air interacted with each other and collided with each other until eventually mineral life was formed and plant life evolved out of that. And plant life would be a second density of consciousness, where now it can interact with its environment. It has a little bit more awareness, right? And plant life, insect life, animal life, it's all second density. And eventually, as in our own evolution, second density evolves into third density, which is when consciousness becomes self-aware, which is when it understands, oh, I exist. That is the I am, right? Yeah. So like the I am wakes up from its sleeping state. And the third density continues to progress until what we call enlightenment is achieved, which is when consciousness realizes, oh, and everything else is me too.
Yes.
I'm one with the all. And so that's where fourth density begins. And that's the density of love and unity, or love and understanding. And that progresses to fifth density, which he says is the density of wisdom, where love meets wisdom. Sixth density is the density of unity, where sort of everything starts to merge back together. So like, for example, have you heard of the concept of a social memory complex?
No.
Do you listen to Abraham Hicks?
Yes.
So you know how a lot of channeled entities will say we.
Yes.
We.
Yes.
So even in the Bible, the first verse is, let us create man in our image, after our likeness, right?
Yes.
That's because the higher density beings are what they call social memory complexes, which is like at some point in our evolution, the love becomes so great, the force becomes so great that we basically merge into one being. And
Yes.
this happens.
Yes.
So
I
it'll
feel
be
that.
like Ra, for example, is an entire planet of beings that have eventually merged together into one social memory complex. So it becomes sort of like a god in a sense. But
Yes.
every single person's memory and consciousness is involved in that being. So it has access to every memory, every thought.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Totally get that.
And then
Yeah.
that happens in the seventh density where these social memory complexes merge together and create like super deities, the logos or whatever. And then eighth density is the beginning of a new octave where everything merges back into the one source and there's only the source.
Okay. Wow. Wow. That's so beautifully expressed. I've never heard the 8 densities like that.
It's pretty amazing, right?
Yes.
It's liberating.
Yes.
The big thing for me with that set me free from a lot of fears was, I love my family so much. I have the most amazing parents. And one of my biggest fears has always been losing them, like what if, even if reincarnation is true, that's awesome. But like, okay, so my mom's going to go off on her own journey. I'll never really see her again. My dad's going to go off. My sister's going to go off. We're going to be separate. And that would kind of make me feel really bummed. And Ra talks about all the people in your life who you love, you will eventually merge with.
Yes.
So you never lose anyone.
Yes. I totally resonate with that. I feel like actually when my animals in my life have transitioned, I connect with them immediately. I believe that their consciousness is right there and okay, right. You've just transformed and we're going right. And their insights and what they share is so amazing and enlightening. And it's coming from pure source love. And it's so beautiful. And I just feel such a privilege when you have that awareness that everything is in existence, that you're like, wow, I'm never losing anyone. And they're now becoming part of your consciousness. In fact, Abraham talks about that with Jerry, that he's now in her editing and he's now, and I feel that even with the animals that have transitioned, which really been dear to my heart, which it's just like, wow, they're just with me even more than ever before, even more. And they bring that state of being into me. And it's fun because when you are connecting with that dimension, it's activating more of your senses. So you're opening up beyond your 5, 6 senses. You're really activating different frequencies. And it's amazing that your awareness expands as well. And it's always a gift. And just one of my dogs just transitioned this month, and he was actually sharing with me, one of the things was, what if death, and we don't like to call it death, but what if transition was actually something desirable? What if it was like a kind of accomplishment? And he was sharing, we have such an idea that, wow, no one of us wants to die because what happens after death, we don't know. And actually, it's in the unknown that you explore your greatest power. And so be open for that. And I, even in a dream, have felt what it is to die. Now, of course, I don't have any real clarity, but I do have my own insight that it's almost freeing. And it's a really beautiful, euphoric experience that you just come out and you're like, wow.
Yeah.
And it's like, wow. And then when you connect to the people or the animals or anyone who has transitioned, there's huge activations in that. And you get to have that, because I was always afraid of dying since I was really young, until I realized, wow, death is nothing to, it's not to die for. It's just, it's a beautiful transition.
Yeah, it's sort of like people running a marathon and they're like looking at each other like, I don't want to cross the finish line. Let's just keep running around. Let's delay this as long as we can.
Exactly. And it's like, wait, we came here to cross the finish line.
Exactly.
We came here as well. It's actually like that it's like, yeah. Or just enjoying to die, or just doing life until you transition. And it's a beautiful thing. And then when you know that, you're like, wow, I don't actually have to grieve. Because grieving comes with thinking that you're all alone and you could have done it differently and you're having regrets and everything. But you can actually be like, wow, if I really connect to the essence of that which transitioned, you will feel the brilliance in that. And then you will feel the gratitude and the appreciation and the love, and it will just fulfill you. And so you can celebrate that. It's really, really, really beautiful space. And then because you're coming from that dimension, you don't even miss the physical presence because you feel the essence so vividly.
Right.
And you see the physical presence in different things because they literally show up differently. And it's like astral projection then. And you go again and you go through all of that.
Yeah. When you mourn someone who's passed on, and it feels, there's nothing wrong with grieving, of course. It's beautiful.
No, it's a beautiful thing. It's a beautiful space as well.
Yeah. But, your emotions are always signaling whether you're thinking something that's correct or incorrect. And if you feel terrible because someone passes away, that's because your emotional guidance system is letting you know you're thinking incorrectly about this situation, which is that you don't actually lose the person you love.
No. And they become more part of you. You actually more embodied with you actually become more immersed with them
in a lot of ways. Yeah.
And that was what my dog was communicating. He was like, we're actually like, he was a little Chihuahua that would go everywhere with me, so he was always with me. And he said, now we can go even more. We can merge even more fluidly together. And then what I project from this space is really enlightening. And then I'm like, wow, this is really, really beautiful. Yeah.
I had a pretty amazing experience with my dog when I was 22. I had a Shih Tzu from the time I was 8. His name was Max. And he passed away when I was in college in Oklahoma, and I didn't get to say goodbye to him. And I was really close with that dog. And I remember doing a Skype session with my family, and they were showing Max laying on his bed, just his hips had gone out and he was just really weak and all that stuff. And he looked so miserable and unhappy, and it broke my heart, And so they put him to sleep the next day, and it took a while to hit me that he was gone. And I remember walking down the hallway of my music building and on the way to class, and all of a sudden the realization hit me that I'll never see Max again. And I didn't get to say my goodbye to him. I didn't get to hug him or hold him or anything. And I was like, oh shit, I'm about to lose it, So I darted into the bathroom stall and I just sobbed like a baby. But I was doing the silent cry because I didn't want anyone to hear me, just in tears and stuff. And it was really, really painful. And no joke, a night or two later, I had the most vivid dream of my life, where I was sitting on my room floor back in my house in California, and my dog Max comes bounding in like this into the room and jumps in my lap and starts licking my face, and I'm holding him. I'm like, Max, and I'm crying, and I'm like, you came to say goodbye, and I'm holding him. And it was the most real dream I'd ever had. I felt his fur, his warmth, his tongue, everything.
Yes.
And I woke up that next morning and I had no sadness at all anymore. Like, I got to say my goodbye. And I knew, because that intense emotional, that electromagnetic signature I sent out about him, clued to his consciousness in the astral or whatever. And he was like, oh, I'm going to come to him in his dreams then. And like we talked about, that dream was just as real as this reality was.
Yeah.
It really was him.
Yes, exactly. Isn't that amazing? Yeah, I even told my dog to come in and share with me his perspective. And the other day, it was just so much joy and love in the dream. And I was like, yes, he's sharing that with. It was so beautiful. We can really. I had another dog who died, and he used to sleep on my with me sometimes on my pillow. And I had actually felt his fur. I was awake, and I literally felt his fur on my pillow, and just I could smell him and everything. And then that's why it's so fascinating. It's so fascinating when you realize, wow, we're always in connection, because you didn't say goodbye so that you can experience a goodbye in a different dimension, and it awakened you. That's what I was saying before. Our transitions with our loved ones really activate our senses. Yeah. And so we can explore greater expansion and be like, wow, that's amazing. We don't ever say goodbye because no one ever goes away. And
Yep.
they know that. And it's so, so beautiful.
Yeah. How can that which is won ever be lost? You know?
Exactly. I love that. And that gives so much peace to our hearts, isn't it? Because I think in moments like this, we are all going to have these experiences that our loved ones transition. And then when we know that, wow, we can always be in connection, it's really, really beautiful.
It sure is.
Yeah. So I absolutely love that. Okay. Well, Aaron, I loved having you on the show.
Likewise.
And thank you so much. Could you please share with everyone where they can see you, meet you, connect with you?
Sure. My YouTube channel is youtube.com/Christ Consciousness.
Yeah.
And then my Instagram is just my name @Aaron Abke.
Yeah, and they're definitely ones to follow. I follow you on both, and they're awesome. Really, really, like I was saying, the quality, the content is really, really high level.
Thank you.
Really, thank you so much, because you know what you share is just so impactful to so many people. I think even to the ones, there are so many people who are tuning in and not commenting, and that you don't even know what an impact you're making. And even to the ones, even to the ones that don't even show up, just by being you are changing the way the orchestration of life works, just by you expressing your soul essence. It's like, I always think that we're all notes in the universe, and just the way we tune our state of being really makes the quality and the whole orchestration of life. It influences every thought, every feeling that you have is definitely being broadcasted. So you're impacting the universes.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing to think about how many people we can impact now with social media and the internet.
Yeah, and beyond social media.
Yeah. Someone 10 years in the future might find my videos and be impacted.
Exactly. But even those who never even tune into your videos, they will be impacted, because you're literally setting a foundation.
Yeah, it's true. I really believe that every time somebody expands their consciousness, it adds to the overall frequency of the planet, you know?
Exactly. So really, really beautiful. I really appreciate everything that you are and all that you do. So, and thank you so much for being on the show. I really loved it.
Well, thank you. I really appreciated you having me and enjoyed the conversation. So we should do it again soon.
Yes, definitely. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Isabella.